What it do, my moochins? First, we wanna pow, pow, boo, pow, ah, ah, ah. Ooh, yeah. Okay, that's what we do. I see you, son. Okay. What it do, my moochins?
Good morning.
What are you doing, son?
I don't know, my part.
Your part comes next. Anyway. Blah, blah. Let me get a kiss. And that's what I need. I need a kiss. Mwah. Ah, pat, 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 pat. Oh, that lip gloss. All right. That's what I need.
Now you have sexy lips.
Now I have sexy lips?
Yeah.
Sexy lips can get me through this. So let's do it. All right. What it do, my moochins? First, guys, we really hope you enjoyed last week's video because we had a great time meeting up with locals here in Turkey to talk about their country. But the term locals doesn't just apply to those that are born here. It also applies to foreigners that moved here and made Turkey their home. So of course, we had to meet some more locals. And thank you to everyone that's reached out to us to help us with this video. We're sorry we couldn't meet up with all of you, but please feel free to answer the questions you hear in the comments because we read all of them and it'd be great info for other viewers. Now, to start things off, we had to ask the obvious question to these foreigners, which was, why did they move to Turkey?
So I moved here for work. I run my family foundation and we manage the first robotics competition here in Turkey.
Ooh, robotics competition.
Which it's a program for high school students to build a robot and build a team. Actually, the highest award isn't for the robot, it's for what the team does to help their community and help get more kids interested in STEM field.
Hi guys, my name is Florian. I'm 25 years old and I'm from Austria, Vienna, but right now I live here in Istanbul, and that's why I wanted to share my experience of living here in Turkey. So, short backstory, my girlfriend is from here, but we actually met almost 2 years ago in Brussels in Belgium, where we both stayed for our studies. And after 1 year of a long distance relationship, I decided to move here to Turkey for, that was last summer, and we probably stay here until August and September, and then we plan to move to the UK. I would say it's really to live here rather than just to travel here, because this way I can really experience the culture and the people more in depth, and rather than traveling here and you kind of only get like a glimpse of how the life really is and how the culture is. So like this, I really get to experience the real culture and the people and how the daily life here is. So I think that's my favorite part.
Well, my wife kind of chose my destination for me, right? So actually, I always wanted to visit Turkey, even during university. I didn't study abroad, but if I had, it would have either been Barcelona or here in Istanbul. So obviously when I met Gokce, it was going to be about coming to Turkey a whole lot in my life. So chose Istanbul and I chose Turkey because now my family is here. And my favorite part about living here, actually, it's probably a little bit surprising, something that people might not think about, but I like the fact that I don't necessarily have to worry about healthcare in this country. So as a resident, I purchased my own private health insurance for a little bit extra money, but what I pay for a year here is way less than what I paid for a month in the US. And not having to worry about co-pays unless I go to a private hospital, it's kind of a relief to not have to worry if something happens to me here, that I'm gonna have to dig into my savings to pay for it because I don't have insurance in the US right now.
I had no idea that they had robotics here in Turkey, or in Istanbul for that matter. I think that's like super cool. And honestly, behind the scenes, I was kind of geeking out about it. But it's so amazing that they do this for kids in high school. And not just in high school, there are other institutions that work with kids younger than that. I don't really remember how to say the name, so here's Alex.
Called Bilim Kahramanları Derneği, Science Heroes Association.
Good, I'm glad you said it because I would not have known anything about that. Yeah, that place.
And of course, Steve is gonna go wherever his wife tells him. It's just like Douglas. He goes wherever I want.
I go wherever I want. And of course, that means after you tell me where it is that I want to go.
Now, universal healthcare. We wouldn't conceive life without universal healthcare in Spain. For us, it's super important because it's a human right. You get sick, you need to get treated, right? But in the US, it's not like that. You have to pay every time that you go to a doctor or that you go to the hospital for whatever reason. So I love the fact that anybody that comes to Turkey and becomes a resident has the option to get that healthcare because it's so basic, it's basic rights. But anyway, now to the next question.
What has been the most difficult thing of adjusting to moving here?
I would have to say it's the language.
Language?
Turkish is an incredibly difficult language. It's almost exactly backwards of English. In Turkish, you'd say going to I am market,
Going to IM market.
basically. In English, you say I'm going to the market. It's backwards, and it's not always exactly backwards. So trying to figure out where to put words is...
It gets confusing for us too, trying to learn it.
I would say it was the language, because of course you can't expect everyone to understand English. So that's why I'm trying to learn Turkish right now. And I'm also lucky that I always have my girlfriend around, so she can either help me or translate if something is needed. But I think the language is for sure a challenge. And if you come here, maybe try to learn like a few basic words so you get around. But learning the language is for sure the challenge right now for me.
Most difficult thing, it's still probably the most difficult thing, but it's the language barrier. Of course, in a lot of parts of Turkey, they aren't really fluent in English. Thankfully, of course, I have my wife to take care of that language gap. But yeah, it's something that you have to be aware of if you're coming to live in Turkey. Pick up some Turkish. Turkish people will love it a lot if you could say the basics, teşekkürler, merhaba, things like that.
Okay, so I know what I'm about to say is going to sound super biased, but I don't give a I love listening to Turkish speakers. Like, the language just sounds super smooth to just listen to. And after watching some Turkish shows on Netflix, I can say the language can sound sexy or badass. However, it is a very difficult language to learn. It's a pain, actually, because getting the sentence structure is difficult. It's almost like a Turkish Yoda. I'm gonna need a tutor and at least someone to conversate with before I can even begin to grasp it. And so with that said, I can understand the problem and the language barrier, the difficulty it has and all.
Now, from my point of view, I have to accept that it is difficult moving into another country or a new country to you with a different language. Because even like in my case, I already knew English before coming to the US. But you have to build that confidence to actually go up and talk to people and then leave all your fears behind so you can actually hear what they're saying. And I mean, I still make tons of mistakes because Lilas is always on top of me saying, oh, what? What did you say? And then he just mimics me everywhere. So I totally understand. But the only way to overcome this is just to throw yourself in the pool, literally. Go and talk to people.
Honestly, probably the biggest cultural shock is how different we aren't. People are much more helpful here. That would be probably the second biggest thing. I live in Mecidiyeköy, which is the crazy center of town with 1 billion people walking through at any given moment. And one day I was walking down the sidewalk there with 10,000 other people. One person fell over and the entire sidewalk stopped to help. Like, nobody didn't stop.
Oh, you can't do that in New York. In New York, you can fall out in the middle of the street, everybody just starts stepping over you and just walking right by you.
Exactly. Same in Chicago and Seattle, which is where I lived. People help each other here. When there's a need, everybody joins in. There's a lot of street fights here, but at the same time, when a street fight breaks out, 100 other people show up out of every doorway and break it up.
I love it.
Constantly amazes me because I watch from my 6th floor balcony down on the street. You hear the yelling, so you go to the balcony to watch, and 3 people are fighting, and then out of every single door 5 young men suddenly just appear out of nowhere and run into the fight.
I wouldn't say there was really a big cultural shock when I moved here. I think the biggest part is just the sheer size and the dimension difference. I mean, I come from a country where 8.8 million people live, and only here in Istanbul we have over 50 million people. So I think that was just the biggest difference, and also something I had to get used to. Sometimes it can be a bit chaotic because there's so many people and traffic can be chaotic. But these are all things you can get used to, and it wasn't really a shock for me.
My biggest culture shock, I don't know if you guys had this experience yet, but riding a dolmuş for the very first time was my biggest culture shock here in Turkey. It's something that I had never done before. It's a shared taxi basically. Like, you kind of hop in, they leave the door open, they keep honking at people to get in. It's a cheaper taxi for sure, but it was one of those things where we're on the highway, the guy keeps honking at people and the door's wide open. I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
Honestly, guys, Maria didn't really have too many culture shocks here in Turkey because she's kind of been around the block to too many countries. Travel whore. So like I was saying, guys, Maria is well traveled. Yeah. But for me, there were many things, but the best was finding out that I'm actually a human being. And I know that sounds silly and weird and maybe a bit ridiculous, but knowing that I don't have to worry about my safety or my interaction with people or police because of my skin color is amazing. Hashtag we human, son. All right, so do you miss anything from the US? Do you miss anything maybe food-wise or just something that you were able to do?
There's 3 things I miss from the US.
Oh.
One is family and friends.
Okay.
The second is the easily accessible variety of food. Especially when I lived in Chicago, I could eat a different food every day for
Right.
like 3 years and every week eat something new. Never repeat. Here, it's much harder to find good non-Turkish food. It exists here
Right.
and there, but there's a very, very limited non-Turkish food here. And that's
Limited
something-
options, and then if it's not good, it's going to be a hard time finding another one that offers the same thing.
Exactly. The third thing I miss is from Chicago. I miss the Lakefront Trail there. And that's partially because of where I live in the city. I live inland, away from the water. If I lived in Bostancı, I wouldn't miss it a bit because there's the same thing there.
Right.
But I used to live above Navy Pier in Chicago, and so using the Lakefront Trail was super easy, and that was a lot of fun on my bike.
Now, I know you told us before that you were in and out of Turkey before, since you were a kid. But now that you were moving here, did you have any like fears or anything like, or trying to adjust, or any hesitations towards, you know what, I don't want to make that my home?
Not really. So I originally moved here with the intention of living here for 2 years and going back to the US and actually doing architecture, which is what I studied. And about a week into living here, I decided I wasn't going back. Honestly, for a long time, I'd wanted to try living here. As you said, I've been in and out since I was 10 or 11. And wandering through this city in those times, I've always been curious what it would be like to live in Istanbul. The US doesn't have cities like this.
No.
New York is urban, but Istanbul's on a wholly different level. And the other US cities don't even.
Compare at all.
Probably pizza. I know. No, I miss my family, of course, because that's been one of the biggest things that I haven't seen my family in like 13 months now. So definitely them and some of the food, of course. But Turkish food is amazing. So don't worry. I like lahmacun almost as much as regular pizza now.
All right, so what I miss the most about New York City is just walking around the city itself. Like, I love walking in the streets and like feeling the ambiance and the people rushing back and forth. It was just such an energetic feeling for me. I know he's making faces.
No.
And then what I missed the most about Spain when I moved into the US was the social life. But the good thing is that we have a similar social life here in Turkey. If you haven't seen that video,
Oh, link. I like that plug you just
right
did.
there.
I like that plug. I'm not, we have an MTA system in New York City for a reason, so you don't have to do a lot of walking.
It's the perfect city to walk.
No, it is not. There's no such thing as a perfect city to walk. I would really love to say I don't miss anything from New York.
You forgot the name of the city?
I forgot where I was from.
Don't hate.
There is something. I miss my New York City Chinese food. That I really miss. That's about the only thing I can say I really, really miss. The convenience, I can live without that. But that New York City Chinese food, man, China, you gotta let a brother in. We hungry right now, seriously. And also, guys, stop the freaking hate, man. Stop hurting our brothers and sisters from across the sea. Man, because I need my Chinese food. We can't be doing this.
Stop hate.
Stop the hate. More love. Anyway, last question.
Try to learn Turkish before you move here, because people don't speak English here. A few people do, but most of the people you're going to interact with and need to deal with won't speak enough English to help you. Make friends who do speak English and Turkish, or whatever your native language is, if it's not English. Make friends who speak that language and Turkish when you move here as quick as you can, because doing it alone is hard. I can't really imagine doing it alone.
But yeah, we just came here on a whim and met a very cool friend that does speak English and Turkish. So that helped us a lot when we came. But prior to that, we got on Duolingo on our phones and started practicing so we can at least try to understand a few things. But yeah, the language barrier is always a difficult battle. But I mean, with technology today, you can get by for the most part, but it does help to have a friend to definitely translate for you.
Yeah.
I would really recommend to come here without any like predefined opinion about Turkey or about the people, maybe based on what you hear in the news or politics wise or stuff like that. Really come here with like open minds. People here are so warm-hearted and open, and the culture is just so nice to experience. So that's the biggest advice I would give to everyone. Just come here and be free of any predefined opinions. But that's, I think, the biggest advice I would give to everyone moving here or who is traveling to Turkey.
I guess it goes back to the other question, learn a little bit of Turkish is probably the best advice that I could give to anybody who's thinking of moving here, because being able to communicate in their own language will make anybody who lives here go out of their way to try to help you. They're amazing and kind people. If you make the step, and they will definitely reciprocate. So learn a little bit of Turkish. It'll put a smile on people's faces and it'll make your life a whole lot easier.
Now that is great advice when moving to Turkey. And if you move into any other country that's a second language to you, or third or fourth if you like this one over here, which she likes to brag. But it is great information, and it's something that can definitely help when moving somewhere.
Yeah, it's applicable to almost any place if you move to any place. And finding a friend, I think that's really important too. So you are connected to another human, you don't feel so lonely.
Yeah, with social media today, man, you can better find someone in Turkey or wherever it is that you plan to move to and be like, hey, what's up?
What up?
Tell me some stuff about your country, because the thing that we love about all the countries we've been to, everybody's passionate about their country. And that's an amazing thing to see. That's what we love seeing everywhere we go. So anybody that you talk to or just reach out to about their country, trust me, they would love to tell you anything that you want to know. They're going to give you all the history, all the best places to eat, all the times to go out.
Mm-hmm. They'll be your best guide
Exactly.
everywhere you go.
Everywhere. Get a local. Obviously, you see all the information we got from locals, that's it. But guys, we really hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you did. Subscribe to connect more. And as always, remember to live the life you want, love the life you live, and travel.
Muchas out.
Don't feel bad. This is the way I feel about Spanish. I feel completely that way about Spanish. She's Spaniard, she's from Spain. I don't speak a lick of Spanish. And every time I try, I get frustrated with it. It's just a frustrating language. Things don't make sense for me sometimes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel you.
So I know looking at this whole stuff in our background, it might look fake, but the background is real. Seriously, look, I'm touching the tree. See? Touching is real. All this is real. I can go back here.
Go touch the umbrellas.
I'm not going to jump over there and touch the umbrellas, but you see, all this space here is real. I ain't doing stairs. You might as well believe it's fake for all I'm at.